Welcome, everybody. My name is Denise Morgan, and I am your 3rd District PTA president. And we're so happy to have every single one of you here. I would like to ask all of you if you would put your name and your PTA in the chat. That allows us both to know you and also to establish our quorum. I think I mentioned in the email, so 3rd District, we have a quorum requirement for our association meetings of 18 individuals and at least 14 schools represented. So we really appreciate each and every one of you guys taking the time to come into this meeting. And I'm going to also make Tom co-host. Okay, so Linda is our secretary. And Linda, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:33. And I'm going to share my screen and get to our agenda as soon as I find our agenda. 2 seconds because I was reviewing my slides. So we're going to do 2 things tonight. We are going to conduct our Zoom meeting, and we're also going to, hold on 1 second, how about a workshop, our president's workshop. I cannot get my Zoom box to open up. Hold on, everybody. Okay. All right. So, Linda, have you had a chance? Let's see. We have 13 folks in the room. I think we're still shy of quorum, but we're just going to move along and see who else joins. We did have about 25 folks that accepted the invite. And so if we don't get quorum, it means that we won't be able to take action on just a couple things. So our association meeting, we're going to do first. And that way we can get through the business part of it, and then we'll move into the president's workshop. And so if everyone is okay with that, I'll go ahead and proceed. So we've called our meeting to order. We do not yet have quorum. Again, if you could put your name and your PTA in the chat, that will be helpful for our secretary. And generally speaking, when you're in person, it is California State PTA's best practice to do your Pledge of Allegiance. Just illustrating best practice, I'm going to go ahead and say our Pledge of Allegiance, and if everyone wants to follow along, they certainly can. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I next would love to introduce our 3rd District Board. So I'm scrolling down. You'll see we do have a wonderfully full, robust board. Tonight, we don't have all of those board members here, but just want to offer any of our board members, if they'd like to introduce themselves, come off mute if you'd like. Linda, do you want to say hi?
Sure,
there you go.
Sure. I was working on my mute button. Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for coming. I am Linda Voltman. I am the secretary of 3rd District PTA. So I appreciate everybody putting their names and schools in the chat. We are excited you are here. Association meeting, just like your guys' meetings. This is part of business, part of our procedure, and required. So hopefully we'll have our quorum. We still can go through the motions, but again, it will not be, the business cannot really be conducted unless we have a quorum. So, and that just ensures fairness. So our membership is you guys, right, is all the schools, but you guys attending in particular, and we have to have a quorum. So everybody that's attending is aware and has the opportunity to vote. But if there's not a quorum, we just are kind of
We'll illustrate.
Yeah.
We'll demonstrate. Yes.
So welcome, yes. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Cheryl, thanks. Go for it, Mitchell.
Sure. What's up, everybody? Mitchell Leach II. I am 3rd District PTA's Family and Community Engagement Chair. I see some familiar faces and names. Good to see you all. And I'm just excited to get to know you all better and excited about what's ahead.
Thank you, Mitchell.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Longsworth, and I'm the third district treasurer.
Yes, keeps our books in order. Tom, do you want to say hi? You were here. Tom in the I don't see him in the list. That might be all of our current officers that are present tonight. Peggy Parker is joining in just a sec, but we'll just keep on going. Because the association business, as you guys know, for some of you that have been doing PTA for a little bit, you get through this part so we can get to the fun stuff. So the one thing we're going to talk about is establishing a committee for approval of minutes. So the reason for this, establishing a committee, our last association meeting was way back in January. So if we would have brought you minutes today, not only would it have not necessarily been the same folks that were in that room, but it's such a long period of time. So what we do is we establish a committee of 3 to review the bylaws, to review the minutes. Those minutes will be distributed in just the next week or two, I would imagine. Linda's super efficient at that. And then once those are approved, we can bring those forward. So Linda's going to speak really quickly about that last process that we had.
Yeah, so Denise had appointed Adam Gothard, Peggy Parker, and Julia Milley. Thank you. I see Adam here, and I know Peggy's coming. Thank you guys for reading those minutes and approving them. The minutes were approved as presented from our January 22nd association meeting.
The question I have for you, Linda, are we able to establish a committee if we don't have quorum?
Yes, we still
Okay.
should establish a committee for a couple reasons. One, we may have a few people come in that just gets us at that quorum.
Okay.
And so really when it comes to the voting, anything, we can still get through some of the items you have on here.
Okay.
We still can go through the motions. I think it's a great practice, and maybe
Got it.
some people might be able to see that. And they'll also get a great lesson, unplanned, however, very beneficial, of if you don't have a quorum, we'll still go through the motion. We just can't take action. But there are some things that don't need action.
Yes. Okay, cool. Fantastic. So I would love to ask for any volunteers. We need 3 folks that would be willing to review the minutes from tonight's meeting. And if anyone,
I'm willing to. This is Adam.
thank you, Adam. Linda, am I allowed to? Can I sign up?
I don't think you can, but I can, so I'll sign up.
Okay. And then I see Jen Souza in the chat also offered to help. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And again, just as a reminder, not to quiet everybody, but we just put everybody on mute just so we can get through this efficiently. But please feel free to raise your hand. I believe I have it set to where you could come off mute. So feel free to add questions to the chat, whatever. All right, so we have our committee established and we're going to next move into the treasurer report. Cheryl, are you ready for it? And I'll stop sharing. You're going to screen share? Yes?
Yes, I am.
Got it. Go for it.
Okay. Let me get my files open. All right. Okay, share.
So we do have one action item, but we won't be able to take action, but Cheryl can walk us through what you'll be seeing.
Okay. All right, is everybody seeing a Excel spreadsheet?
Yep.
Okay. All right, this is our general fund treasure report. The difference between a board meeting treasure report and an association meeting treasure report is because your board is supposed to meet every month, so you're only reporting the transactions that happened the previous month. With an association meeting, we have to report on all the transactions that happened between the association meetings. So since our last association meeting was in December, I think. So
January.
You're right. I knew I was going to catch myself. Yes, January, but we didn't have the January bank statement yet because we were in the middle of January when we had our last meeting. So now I'm reporting a a culmination of all the transactions between January and April, since April is the most recent month that closed. So, our total deposits from Totem is $186.75. Um, Electronic deposits, Capta gives us, I think it's a reimbursement. We have, deposits via ATM with checks that you all send in to me for your membership dues. We have deposits via the branch, when people go into the branch itself and make deposits. Then we have transfers from our trust account, which I'll explain later. And then a mobile deposit due to an error that I made, and the total amount of interest. So total amount of deposits was $30,103.73. And I'm not going to go into this humongously long list of withdrawals. I mean, it's mainly dues remittances to CAPTA, payments for new unit CT applications, and our payroll, because we have one part-time employee working in our office, and a couple of reimbursements. So, that just summarizes what most of these transactions are. I have descriptions of them, as you can see. So the total, and then we had one return check charge because a check that we received bounced. So the total amount of the withdrawals was $23,984.09, which our ending balance was 31,400. I think my toolbar keeps popping up. $432.18 is our ending balance. Oh, and if I don't think I mentioned the starting balance. The starting balance as of January 1st was 25,312.54. So I need somebody to make a motion to ratify all these let me see if I can make the screen slightly smaller. I don't know if we're
I
gonna be
think
able to.
I think I recall Peggy saying last time, Cheryl, you're able to offer that motion.
Oh, okay.
I think
All
it'd be
right.
easier and it would demonstrate best practice. So that would be great if we could
Yeah.
do that.
Okay. So I make a motion to ratify the one bank fee, check number 6393 6411 6413 through 64115 6415 or 6416, I'm sorry. Then 6419 and 6421 through 6425, plus one debit, plus one deposit return, plus let's see how many withdrawals we have here.
Looks like 20.
Is it 20? 21.
Mhm.
21
Mhm.
electronic withdrawals and one Zelle payment for a total of $23,984.09.
Can I get a second?
Second.
And I want to just, before we call for the vote, I want to highlight a couple things that might come to mind for folks. It makes me curious, and I like to be able to share about this. So, Third District PTA, when I came into this organization, we were running right about $20,000. It feels like that's what they have held in place to keep a stable balance for management. You'll notice, Cheryl, go up a little bit higher, would you? You'll notice that line 11, $21,214.46, transfer from trust account. What happens when a PTA unit isn't able to continue for whatever reason, if it's disbanded or doesn't get membership, doesn't have officers, those types of things, and it gets disbanded, whatever monies they have in place come to third district and we hold them in trust for 2 years. The purpose of that is to allow the PTAs to hopefully restore. So we're still here to support, we're still here to help. So these funds, when they are held over past 2-year period, they then become released into third district. And so then what we are able to do, and this will be what we do over the summer for planning, is to think about how we could utilize these funds to benefit the entire third district units. So you can anticipate that we're going to be talking about hopefully doing some events, some things. We're trying to get creative with some ideas. We're talking about doing our work over the summer is perhaps a leadership retreat so we can really find ways. So I say all that because I would love to hear what you guys think. I would love to hear what you guys hope to see from third district as far as support goes, whether it's in-person meetings, whether it's big opportunities for fundraisers. We do have 2 new units in our third district region that are special education PTAs. This is completely new for third district. So I share all this because our intention at third district is to really bolster what we can do for all of you guys. So feel free to reach out to any of us at any time. And then you'll also notice as an example, I saw H. Allen Heights checked down there somewhere, Cheryl.
Yeah,
So
it's down.
Yeah, so H. Allen Height, as an example, was a PTA that struggled with leadership. We had the funds in trust. Within that next year, we worked very closely with the principal of that school, and she identified some amazing leaders that could step in. And so we were able to release back what funds were in trust for H. Allen Height back to them. And I have to tell you, they are just killing it. They are doing some amazing stuff. So that's just an illustration. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what that looks like. So with all that being said, does anybody have any questions, anything that we could answer for you at this point, or are we prepared to call for a vote because we have quorum? Thank you guys for quorum. So if we have no questions, if everyone would be willing to put a reaction, put a thumbs up, anything like that, and let us know if you approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Can you take everybody off mute to just do a voice vote?
I think everybody, well, we see lots of thumbs going up. Is that sufficient for you, Linda?
Yeah, as long as I don't see one going down, that's all good.
Well, as long as we get thumbs up, but
it's okay. It's
as long as it's a majority of
I'm quickly counting those thumbs up. So as long as we get past that and it's majority, it's all good.
Anybody opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you so much. And I'm just going to put a reminder for anybody that joined late to add your name and your PTA in the chat so that we can establish those details for quorum. I'm going to jump back over here. Cheryl,
you want me to do the budget?
Yep, you also talked about the revised budget. So this is another example of what you guys might face at any given time. So, you do a proposed budget in the fall. Thank you, Maria. If throughout the year your budget changes because priorities, funds, whatever that case is, you do an amended budget, you amend your budget. And so you do need to bring that back to your leadership team and then your association for approval. So she's going to talk about what we changed.
Okay, so this center column here, column D, is what's changed. The changes are in a red color font. There was no changes to the income, as you can see, because nothing is in red. There was or operating income, I should say, and we upped the expired unit balance holds from the 43.48.39 that we put in our budget to 82.09.41 because when we originally calculated this, we didn't take into account um, the units whose money was expiring this year. So that's why the number is higher. Um, and then we didn't anticipate a Founder's Day refund, but we got one, so we added that into our budget. And then I don't know if we need to budget for this, but I made an error. Um, so we didn't budget. We don't budget for errors because you
No,
don't
no.
hopefully don't have any.
Yeah.
But we throw it in there anyway.
I would take it out. It's kind of confusing. You did it on the treasurer's report, which was awesome. That's the only
Okay.
important part.
All right. Then we uh oh, okay. This is money not belonging to the district. This is new member dues, but this money doesn't. We're a pass through to CAPTA. It's California State PTA, so um that money doesn't even stay in our account anyway. We zeroed out the membership incentives because it's a little late in the year now to offer incentives, so we just zeroed that out. Because we set up more units than we anticipated, we upped the budget for our CT application since third district pays for your CT application fee for new units. So it's not expected to be paid back. It's just our gift to you for taking a step forward and helping students. And then when we found out what the actual district insurance premium was, it wasn't as much as we thought, so we backed that number down. Our Zoom subscription, it went up like most things do, so we had to increase that a little bit. Our website maintenance went up a little bit. Our workers' comp insurance bill was not as high, so we dropped that. And let me take this out. And then we had a return check. And then a late fee. The unit sent us a check for the late fee and said directly to CAPTA. So we paid their bill for them and it was messy, but we got it done. But the money did go through our account. We zeroed out all these expenses because we are not using this money for what the budget says we're using it for, so we zeroed all that out. Nobody went to from third district went to national convention, so we zeroed that out. Our convention scholarship for units, so it went a little higher, so we upped that amount. The California third district sent a person to our legislative conference in California. So we and the amount was a little higher than what we planned for, so we upped that amount. Nobody went to national legislation conference, so we zeroed that out. And then we zeroed out the hospitality fund and the on-site expenses for program because we are not going to be doing those. Expenses for third district gatherings, we upped that because we've been doing more in-person gatherings and we're planning to do another one, I think, before the end of the year. And we did not spend as much on reflection, so we dropped that amount. And that's it. That's a lot, I know. Any questions?
No questions from me. Can I get a motion to approve our revised third district budget?
Motion to approve. This is Aita Romaine.
Thank you, Aita.
And second, and this is a good opportunity also to keep your members apprised of when you are making changes to your budget. That way there's no surprises at the end, right? It's like we've been talking through it and we're sharing with you why. And so keep that in mind. If you guys need to change your budget up a little bit, certainly okay, but you just want to make sure that the members are aware.
Yeah,
And I
it's
can share.
perfect. And you can revise your budget, um, as often as you need to. I mean, it's best to do it before your association meeting so you can, like Linda said, just make your members aware that there's some adjustments that need to be made. When you first make your budget in the fall, you have no idea how expensive things are going to be, or how well fundraisers are going to do, or anything like that. So you're basically just taking a guesstimate of what you want to do for the year, money wise, and then as reality sets in, then you need to make some adjustments. So, and it's perfectly okay.
And I will share with you, so all of us at the district level, we serve a 2-year term. So this is what was my first full year. And we had great ideas and lots of
Yeah.
motivation, but when it comes to actually implementing, now I have a much better understanding of our capacity, what we could do. So I anticipate, and I know Mitchell's going to be a big part of this. He's already got some great ideas. We're going to do some more events that will benefit all of our units. So keep your ears and eyes open for that stuff because we really do want to utilize some of these funds that we weren't able to and budget it accordingly. So we did get a motion and a second. Any other questions before I call for a vote? All those in favor of approving the revised third district PTA 25-26 budget, please throw a thumbs up.
Does Jennifer have a question or thought, or is she having a thumb? Oh,
I think it's a thumbs up.
okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
Yay.
We are almost done with this part of the fun stuff. All right, Cheryl,
All right, I will stop
you
sharing.
wanna, sounds good. I'm gonna throw the agenda back up, see where we're at. So we've got through that. Convention report. So there were a few of us that attended convention, and I'm super excited because in our midst, we also have one of our unit leaders who attended with us. So not only am I going to ask for just some convention reflections, Mitchell went, I was present, Peggy was there. I'm not sure if she's able to talk, but Jen, I don't know if you're able to come off mute and also give what I would say a convention report, just some reflections of why you think the convention was beneficial, what big takeaways.
I can go. This is Jen.
Yay.
And well, first I have to say everyone was very welcoming, and I was there by myself. So I was a little just nervous about, what I was going to do, but every single workshop was so informative and so helpful. And it was really easy to meet people right away. I felt like Saturday night was really peak dancing experience. It was so fun, and just it was really great just to be able to let my hair down and and enjoy dancing. And I also really enjoyed getting to know everyone else, people from our district, people from around the whole state, how things are done in other places, and very similar experiences, some different experiences, but a lot of empathy and a lot of exchange of ideas, including like fundraising ideas and why we keep our dues low, because it's more to bring parents out than to raise money that way. A lot of stuff that just made sense to me. So I appreciate the opportunity to go, and I'm going to submit my reimbursement form. I really need that money before my next convention with CTA.
So, Jen just mentioned, so we were able to offer scholarships, and so you can expect that again next year. So, what I've learned as your third district PTA president, that now is the time to start planning for convention. So, every single one of you in the room would benefit. I guarantee you would benefit. So, we do all we can in order to support you guys attending, but it is something that you might want to build into your budget, your proposed budget, and make it a target because the takeaway as a leader is enormous. So I'm just going to, since I'm talking, I'm just going to very briefly. So as a district president, we also are part of the board of managers. So my experience at convention starts with board of managers meeting, which is where the state PTA conducts a lot of the business. And then we roll into, and they place us on commission. So my charge was to arrange workshops. And so I was able to offer 3 workshops that were wonderful. We had one on community schools, we had a workshop with regard to literacy, and we had a workshop with regard to the power of the school board. So all of those were super exciting. There's keynote speakers, there's motivational opportunities, there's lots of collaboration that takes place. And then Jen mentioned the state dinner, which is on Saturday night. And they just try and make it fun. So everybody gets to kind of hang out, spend time, eat some good food. And yes, there's dancing. So that's my own personal convention report. Mitchell, do you want to add anything?
Sure.
Tell us
Yeah.
what you,
No. Yeah. The convention was incredible. This was my third one, first as a delegate, and it was so good to. It really is a special time to not only get to know the greater portion of your district, but you meet the PTAs all over the state. So a lot of folks in San Diego, you have folks LA, you have folks Northern California, and you're really able to gain a lot of wisdom, a lot of insight, a lot of collaboration, and you come away with a lot of ideas and networking with great potential partners. And so I was able to be a part of some Uber stuff. TikTok was there. You had a lot of advocacy groups. It was really, really robust. And so I highly, highly encourage everyone on the call. If you have not been to a convention, I think it's in Ontario next year. And so it's a great spot. It's in Southern California. Rancho Cucamonga is right there, right next door. But please, please add this to your budgets because once you go to the actual convention, trust me, you'll come away 10 times more with a lot more ideas. You'll get a sense of kind of where you're at in terms of your own local PTA. And yeah, you'll be more impactful. So shout out to Jennifer too. She was a rock star. Like it was so cool to see her networking and learning and adding a lot of value. And so, Jennifer, shout out to you. You represented Third District PTA at a really, really high level. And Third District PTA won several awards. So kudos to everybody in the district. But I really want to see more of you all because a lot of them come with 20, 30, 40 folks. And so we would love to come have you guys come out next year.
I just wanted to add too that something Christelle from H. Allen Height kept pointing out was that we had a very diverse group by race, but also by gender. We had more men show up from third district than I think showed up at the whole event. And I think that's something that's really important to me as a PTA leader is the dads be involved and dads feel welcomed.
yes, thank you for calling that out.
Hey Denise, this is Christelle.
Oh,
I think
you're
I'm
on.
showing up. I think I'm showing up as Jen,
That's
but
why I was like, okay, I'm confused. I'm going to change your name because your hand is up
yes,
then, right? Oh, well,
yes,
then
yes, my bad.
okay,
Yeah,
good. I'm so glad. Okay, talk to us,
just wanted to
Christelle.
let you know that I'm on, but completely agree with everything that has been said, and not to overwhelm anyone. But I know for me, I left with a long list of action items of like, oh my gosh, we need to do this, we need to do this. But I felt like I had some good direction coming out of that convention as a new PTA president. Definitely felt more prepared for this role, so I definitely recommend it. I think at a minimum, every president and treasurer should go because there was a lot of workshops that kind of happened at the same time. And because I was the only one there as president, I chose the president workshops, but I know we also needed a lot of help in the treasurer department and we didn't have a treasurer there. So I would recommend at least budget for those two roles, but as many as you want, but at least those two.
Thank you, Christelle. I'm glad you're here. Peggy, did you want to add a couple minutes of reflection? I'm not sure if you're able to or not. Oh, we can't hear you, Peggy. Unfortunately, Peggy's audio has been a little sketchy, but one thing I want to point out about Peggy, so we also have these general sessions, which is where the voting takes place because the voices matter. And so Peggy was fantastic. She recorded the delegate. So
keep growing. I got no problem.
there was Ephraim, I keep muting you, but if you are trying to talk, I apologize if I'm muting you unnecessarily. So feel free to raise your hand and speak up if you'd like to. But Peggy kept track of the numbers, the business that takes care of that. And then Peggy was part of all of it. And I really appreciated all of the different leaders that came and joined us. And I was proud to see that we were able to offer some scholarships. So without further ado, Christelle, do you have something else you wanted to mention?
Okay.
No, I think I just forgot to put my hand down. I'll do
Okay,
that now.
no worries. Ephraim, are
I
you
lost all mine. I have a
Ephraim,
napkin.
Ephraim, are you interested in speaking up?
Thank you. No.
Okay, I'm gonna mute him again. I hope I'm not muting him unnecessarily, but he can tell me if so. Okay, we're gonna move on so that we can get to the fun stuff. So without any further ado, is there anything that I missed, overlooked? Linda, Peggy, Cheryl, Mitchell, none of that?
I
Okay.
just wanted to share that Peggy was also out there dancing, and that was inspiring.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that too. I do have some pictures. I'll put up some pictures. Not the dancing pictures, a picture of us all at dinner. All right, so with that, it's 7:10 and I will adjourn us. We don't need to make a motion for that.
Hey, Denise,
Oh,
it's FY. This is Ryan.
oh, hi.
I'm signed in as
Been
Jennifer
working
apparently.
there. I
So
started in the mill with 20 years actually.
Hi, Ryan. I'm going to change your name too so we can see you.
I just wanted to
I
say
will,
hi.
I
yes.
apologize for sharing my link. When you said you needed quorum, I just went crazy. I didn't
Don't
realize it was
apologize. I'm glad I'm here.
That's
okay.
okay. No, thank you for doing that. So, very briefly, before we adjourn, I want to share with everybody. So, Ryan Digman is the newly elected president for the. I'm going to butcher the name, but it's a special
Special
education PT.
Education, yep.
Go for it.
Advocacy PTA of SJUSD, so San Juan Unified School District.
So, special education PTA that is district wide. We also have Jennifer Souza,
Yep.
who is the newly elected president for
The Natomas Special Education PTA.
So we
And
have, yeah,
families
okay.
are very intrigued. They're very excited about this district
Yep.
wide.
So a little bit different. This is new for third district. We're very excited to be able to really support a component of our children in our region that will benefit from this extra advocacy that can go when it's very targeted. So very excited about that.
We're online and
And
everyone's growing we're all growing our stuff right now. So if everybody wants to support us and watch us grow, support us online too. So that'd be great.
sounds good. We'll definitely add some write-ups in the next newsletter. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn us so that we can move into the president's workshop unless anybody has any questions before we end our association meeting. All right, we're going to call this done at 7:12.
Mhm.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing because I'm going to jump over into a slide deck and get us started on that.
Bye, bye. I love you.
All right, all right, all right. So again, we have everybody muted, but feel free to come off mute, ask questions. I'm just reading Adam's. Yes, definitely, Adam. And I have to tell you before we get into it, there's some really powerful special education PTAs that are in Southern California to the point where the districts and the administration are actually collaborating and reaching out to the special education PTAs to gain insight. And so without getting into like huge amounts of depth to it, it's almost a little bit more robust as far as advocacy goes. And so it's not quite the same as a PTA unit that's at a single school. It's much more advocacy focused. So we're all going to be supporting each other together. It's going to be super exciting. I am very interested in finding out if there's any Sac City Unified, Sac City parents that might be interested in creating a Sac City Unified School District Special Education PTA too. So keep that in mind. All right, y'all, we're going to move right into this. So again, my name is Denise. I am here to present a president's workshop. And thank goodness I have leaders on the third district team that have been doing this for a long time. So you guys correct me if I get anything wrong or if anything needs to be added. Feel free to add any questions into the chat and those leaders will do their best to watch out for that and answer any questions that come up. So each of you as a PTA member at your school also means you're a member of third district PTA, you're a member of the California State PTA, and you're a member of the national PTA. And you'll notice as we look at these missions, all very much aligned. So even though national PTAs, hey Efrain, I feel so bad. I keep muting him, but I feel like he's accidentally unmuting. So he can yell at me if I'm doing this wrong because I'm not sure if he's wanting to talk to me or not. Anyway, so lots of alignment when you look at the missions, but I really want to highlight their district's mission in particular. So we are here to support local PTAs through training, mentoring, and problem solving. We are here to advocate for education, health, and safety of all children. We're here very much to work with local organizations and agencies and provide the connection between our local PTAs and the state PTA. That is our mission. We are here for you guys. That is our whole purpose, to support all of you. Without all of our PTA unit leaders, our third district, our state would not be what it is. We wouldn't be able to advocate for the things that we do. I'm closing out some screens because I got too much stuff going on. What does third district do for everyone? I'm going to let you guys monitor the chat for me so I can close this out of my window if that's okay. So third district is here to provide training and tools for all of you. So that includes a training such as this, but also independently. So if there's ever a time when you guys are stuck on something, please feel free to reach out to any of us. We don't have what's usually a midpoint called a council. And so what we do here in third district is we assign a mentor. So one of us as a leader is assigned to each of you to provide that support. There should be a list on our website. I heard that it was a little hard to find. That will be a focus for me next year to make sure that our mentor list and our connecting points are more robust. So that's my promise, my commitment to all of you. We also make sure to provide a calendar with the deadlines because helping you guys to efficiently do the business makes the fun stuff a lot more fun. So we're going to make sure that you are kept well aware of all those deadlines, whether it's membership, whether it's making sure your the rosters are up to date, and of course the tax filings, all of those good things. We're here to help. Of course, here to assist with any problem solving. And then a big part of what we are also tasked with doing is coordinating and assisting with the state and national programs. So the Reflections Art program, oh my gosh, the Reflections Art program is so amazing. So I'm really hoping that we can launch that in a way that reflects the incredible talent in our third district. So it's a free program. I'll tell you, you'll get lots more about this as the summer goes through. The scholarships and grants. So both the California State PTA and National PTA has a lot of scholarship and grant programs. So keep your eyes open for those. We'll keep you posted on those applications and the timelines. School Smart's Parent Engagement Program. This is a really cool program if you wanted to really help your school community and your parents understand exactly what the school system does. And it's a School Smarts program that engages with art as kind of a fundamental basis. And it's funded by way of usually your school site or your district parent engagement fund. So we can talk more about that if anybody was interested. The state legislation conference is fantastic. This is an opportunity to actually go and advocate with your legislators. So this is always held in Sacramento. You guys have a chance to hear from legislators that'll come in. Different agencies will come in and share best practices. And then there's an advocacy opportunity where you're actually going out and showing up and meeting with your local legislators. It's a powerful experience. And then, of course, California State Convention, we talked about that. So we do hope that you guys will consider all of those things when we share out that information. Third district. So compared to other districts in our state, third district is huge. It's huge, and we are supporting 150 units. It's an enormous job. It's an enormous responsibility, but it's an enormous honor. I have to tell you that you guys just uplift me and my work all the time. So third district includes these counties that are shown and dead center kind of in the middle of this region. So we are a very powerful voice, particularly when you think about where we're located here at the state capitol. So one of the phrases that I hear from the state leaders all the time is, we hope you'll never feel like you're walking alone, because there really is support networks that go all the way up. Typically, you guys are the PTA units. Typically, there's what's considered a council. So it might be a school district, but we don't have any councils in our third district. And that's why we are going to intentionally assign mentors to everybody for that support. And we're going to do something super cool that Cheryl shared with me that she did in the past when she was president, which is called meetups. So we want to try and create space, some intentional space for school district PTA leaders. So for instance, everybody in Natomas to schedule a meetup to where you PTA leaders have a spot, a place, a dedicated time where you're going to be sharing ideas, getting to know each other, commiserating, celebrating, all that kind of stuff. So that is a plan. That's a goal. And I'm going to tap Cheryl's knowledge on that. And then, of course, district is us. And then, like I said, we have the state PTA and the national PTA that supports all of us. I'm going to zip through this so that we have time for questions at the end. So feel free to slow me down if I get going too fast. So some general terms, you guys have probably all heard about your bylaws, a little bit intense and overwhelming. It's not as overwhelming as it seems. There's just some key components within your bylaws that are guiding the governance of your organization. Every single one of the PTA units are nonprofits. You're a subsidiary of the California State PTA. So in order to keep California State PTA in good standing, all of us down below also have to keep our organizations in good standing, and that means following our bylaws. The channels, that's just the way we talk when we're moving things from the PTA unit up to the district, and then we send it up to state. Committee meetings, so a little bit different than your executive board. So you might have a parent engagement committee or something very targeted or specific. Maybe it's 8th grade dance committee, some of those things. Your bylaws and your standing rules are going to talk about those committee establishments. Your executive board, all of that, you guys are probably familiar with at this point, being here in the room, but those are the elected and appointed officers. and your principal and teacher representative. That's important to remember. The principal and teacher representative are automatically on your executive board. So it's important to collaborate with them, make sure that they're feeling welcome and engaged in that. And then your general association meetings are where you're inviting all of your members. Forum, we talked about a bunch of times today. And then Future Fund Connect. I think that there's a lot of our third district leaders that haven't yet jumped onto Future Fund Connect. So this is the platform that's used for officer contacts. You're going to be able to put membership rosters in there. It's also where you're going to find all of your documents. So historical documents, so your tax filings, your letter of determination, which tells you about that subsidiary role, bylaws, lots of different things that go into Future Fund Connect. And it's also the place where bylaws are updated. This is a new platform for us. It's super easy. If you haven't looked at your bylaws, if you know that you need to update them, you might want to consider joining Peggy's bylaw workshop on Saturday. We are recording all of these. Did I hit record? Yes. Okay. So that we can share these out. They'll be posted, but it's a very simple process for updating your bylaws. Probably one of my favorite things that's happened this year because it's very streamlined.
I can attest to that because I just did ours. Very easy.
Yeah, you literally got them done in a very short amount of time. Once they go through the platform, once they go up to the state and they're approved, then you bring them back to your association for ratification. A couple additional.
That's the step we still have to do, the ratification, but we're almost there.
Yes. And then so your bylaws need to be updated every 5 years. You should be reviewing them every year, but every 5 years your bylaws need to be updated. Keep in mind if your bylaws are outdated, if they aren't updated that every 5-year term, it would prevent you from perhaps receiving a scholarship that you apply for. It would prevent you from participating in the reflections program. So it is part of your governance that you want to pay attention to and take a look at. And again, if you have any questions about that, feel free to join the bylaws workshop and or reach out to any of us. And I'm not watching the chat, but I think that you guys are keeping an eye on it for me.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on the chat.
Thank you, Cheryl. Financial review, this is just basically as it says, this is really important. There's some key components about financial review. And I see it's listed twice. Don't know why I did that. But that's a process that you will want to undertake. It should be identified in your bylaws, and there's lots of resources that we have to help you through that. The Attorney General, the Franchise Tax Board, the Internal Revenue Service, those are all entities that we are responsible for reporting to. We help you guys get set up in the beginning, and we're going to help make sure that you're in good standing. The beginning of next year, our state PTA will reach out to us and let us know if anybody is behind in anything. And so you're going to hear from us, and we will help you make sure to get everything taken care of. There is an accounting software program in My PTEZ. For my small PTA that we use, we just use an Excel spreadsheet, but there's a lot of people that have used the MyPT's program. I also know that Future Fund, Adam's got a thumb down. You don't like it.
No, our treasurer really doesn't like the MyPTEZ, and
what they use
it's difficult to work with.
Okay.
So we're going to probably switch to using QuickBooks through, discounted QuickBooks.
Yeah, and keep in mind, you're all nonprofit. So a lot of these, those kind of things like QuickBooks probably has a nonprofit rate. So make sure you're always asking about that. The Future Fund Connect is going to be rolling out an accounting program. I don't yet know the timeline on that, but if you join Cheryl's treasurer's workshop next week, she'll have some more information as far as that goes. And then Totem is an electronic membership system. A lot of our PTA units do use Totem. This is where folks can quickly sign up online. You can give them a QR code and membership dollars pass right through. The nice thing about Totem is it distributes the dues to third district, to state, and to national automatically. So the remaining goes into your bank account, and it's super, super simple. I know some folks use a different platforms, but Totem's just one that is widely used. So very briefly, quick overview. Your executive board, you have 3 required officers: president, secretary, and treasurer. If those positions aren't filled, then state PTA is going to be reaching out to us to say, hey, this unit's in jeopardy, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to help support you in getting those leadership positions filled. I highly recommend, if you find yourself in a challenged state with regard to that, talk to your principal. And I think Christelle could talk about this. Like Miss Mitchell, who's the principal at H. Allen Height, is the one that recruited her board, and it's gone from, like we talked about before, not disbanded. They weren't disbanded fully, but in straits, to being a very, very high functioning PTA. And it's that relationship between the principal and the PTA that really did that. Again, principal and your teacher rep are automatic officers. Appointed are your parliamentarian and your committee chairs. And there's recommended officers for sure. But the optional officers definitely bring some of these folks in, and you're going to be looking at your bylaws, because your bylaws set out which positions that you are allowing within your PTA. So you have a fiduciary responsibility. It's a very important responsibility and role that you're holding, especially as president. I'm presuming since everybody's here, you're coming with that role in mind, but it really is for all to be aware of. So we are holding a nonprofit status. You have a legally defined fiduciary responsibility, and that means that you're taking care of your PTA on their behalf, and lots of implied good faith intentions that should be considered. And so this just gives you kind of an overview. I won't read through it all, but just keep in mind that you do hold a very important responsibility as your PTA president in an elected position. Talking a little bit about bylaws and standing rules. And so your bylaws are basically the legal guiding document that puts forth a lot of the various, like I said, legalities. So your legal name, you're going to find in your bylaws your legal ID number. So the Attorney General has a CT number. That's in there. You're going to find your franchise tax board number. You're going to find your IRS number. All of those things are within your bylaws. You also have your membership dues amounts, the officer positions that you've agreed on, what your quorum requirements are, and then the nominating committee and the election guidelines. Your standing rules are where you get a little bit more flexible. And your standing rules, I think I have a slide about this. Your standing rules can be modified much easier than your bylaws, even though the bylaw process is pretty streamlined now. But your standing rules can be it could be a 2/3 vote at your association meeting. So you and your leadership team could come up with some ideas if you felt like you needed to expand on your standing rules. And then we could help you understand what the process is. But that's where you're going to kind of dive into some more specifics. And taking a look at those standing rules at the beginning of a term is a good idea, because you might have some ideas that you want to incorporate within the standing rules that give you more flexibility to make some of your PTA activities take place.
Denise, I like to think of it, the difference between your bylaws and standing rules is your bylaws are things that you have to do. The standing rules are basically how you're going to do those things.
Thank you. That is a good distinction. The have to and then how.
Yeah.
Yes. Real quick, we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the resources. So the California State PTA website, capta.org. I have to tell you, there's a search box at the top right corner. And if I have a question about anything, that's the first place I'm going to go, because it's going to take you to different places within the state PTA website And side note, they are going to be revamping the entire website, hopefully in the next 6 months, if not sooner, and it'll be way more easy to navigate around. But use that search box. That search box might lead you to the toolkit, which has all kinds of resources for you as a leader. The leader's website. I see Peggy's in the waiting room. I'm going to admit her. The leader's website, I am going to show you a page where you would log on. So that's you create a login and a password, so it's your own dedicated spot. And then there's lots of publications that you will just by nature of your role as a leader receive. And we also are resources. So Third District has a website. I do hope that we're going to revamp that. And National PTA has some wonderful things. Robert's Rules of Order is basically what we're all guided to follow with regard to our meetings. So that's how they're conducted. But the state PTA website has a lot of the criteria that basically is the Robert's Rules of Orders. And then procedure books. I think one of the best things that you could possibly do is create processes and procedures so that you can pass those on. Because I think we all agree, we're not trying to hold this job forever. We're trying to make it successful while we can and then pass on our good practices to the next incoming set of leadership. That's the whole purpose behind it. This is that leaders website I was talking about, and I'm going to share out the recording and the slides with everybody that registered. So, but the leaders website, it's a great resource. Like I said, it's going to give you lots of details, lots of information behind the scenes that gives you a chance to dive into a variety of things. So for instance, this is talking about the scholarships and grants application, that type of thing. You're going to find lots of different tools and support in that space. Am I going too fast? Are we good? Any questions so far? I'm going to keep at it. So president's to-do list. So this is after election, but before taking office. These are some things that you want to think about doing. So definitely, hopefully you're working in tandem, in collaboration with the outgoing president so that they can talk about what's worked, what hasn't, what their best practices are, hopefully passing along resources for you. I just appreciate every single one of you. You're here and you're attending the training. There's lots of training resources. One of the things us district presidents have been asking of our state PTA is more training resources that we can then pass on to you guys. So we hope to have some more targeted training that benefits you guys that's coming from our state leaders as well. And definitely set up time where you can meet with your new board members. So, you're not meant to carry on this job by yourself. So you want to make this a team approach. So find some time to, just collaborate and see what kind of ideas everybody's bringing. Definitely track down your bylaws. If you don't know where your bylaws are, if you haven't seen them, let us know. We will help you find them. And then thinking about your committee chairs. So if you have specific areas of work, somebody doesn't hold a leadership position, but they want to help as a committee chair, those are great resources, great team players to have. And I can't emphasize enough, meet your principal, coordinate with your principal, find out what events that the school is going to be doing and which ones you can piggyback with or receive support with. So collaborating with your principal. I have to share that I don't remember which meeting it was, but there was an actual almost like a poll taken that the strongest PTAs are the ones that have good relationships with their principals. So whatever you can do, creating those good, solid relationships with leadership matters a lot. And in the case of the special education PTAs, they're going to be going even higher, creating those relationships with district leadership because those collaborations matter and they care about what we have to say. So don't hesitate to reach out, introduce yourselves, and hold that role because it's a role to be proud of. And it's also a role that they really rely on so that they can elevate the opportunity for the parents and families. And then, of course, PTA financials. It's important to know what's going on with those. Those aren't your direct responsibility. That would fall to your treasurer. But as president, you do want to have good oversight over all of it. And then a planning meeting, like I talked about third district, we're talking about doing a retreat. So sometime maybe in June, I haven't talked to anybody about this yet, but hopefully sometime in June, we can set up some time. One thing we discovered, so the Sacramento and the other leaders have known this forever, but as an example, Sacramento County Office of Education has meeting spaces, and they allowed us to meet there for free. As a nonprofit, they support us. There's a lot of organizations, a lot of places throughout our region that would welcome opportunity to collaborate, so don't hesitate to ask.
Oh,
And then,
I'd like to add one more thing to the end of the previous slide that you just
yep,
had up.
yep,
If you can't attend organized training, already scheduled training, like what we offer or state PTA offers, please do not be bashful and ask us to set up what we call an in-service, where we will come to your PTA. We can do it over Zoom, we can do it in person, whatever works best, and we can train just your PTA board members. So don't think, oh, I can't go to that training, so I guess I'm not going to get trained. Nope, there's no such thing. There's always going to be accessibility to training if we have to come to you to do it.
yes, thank you for that, Cheryl. Absolutely true. And usually in-service is done for new PTA units, but in essence, when a whole new election takes place and it's a new board, every single one of those, that new PTA group of leaders is also would benefit from training. So please reach out to us. We'd be happy to do that. So just a little bit of the detail work that does go with your president's position. So you are presiding over all of your executive board and your association meetings. You're approving any communication materials. So if your treasurer, as an example, has a wonderful flyer that they want to send out, it should be coming to you for approval first. You also want to communicate with your principal and or the school staff, because sometimes there's specific details that need to go in flyers, or there's ways that they can be distributed, posted, that type of thing. So you're going to oversee a lot of that. You're the one that's going to be appointing the chairs and the committee members. So that's your role as president. And you are also a member of all of those committees, with the exception of the nominating committee. So any committees you have established, you are an ex officio member, meaning that you have a standing role in all of those at all times. You hold the official PTA contacts, so any PTA business should be reflecting you in your leadership role. And again, I probably have this so many times throughout this deck. Keeping in good contact with your school administration, make it regular. If you can set some standing meetings with your principal. I know that they're so busy oftentimes, but really making sure that you have time so that you're supporting them. And then becoming familiar with the financial procedures. It's not your job, but it's good for you to know, so that way you can have a handle on what should be taking place. And attending our meetings, we appreciate it and we welcome it. And we also hope that you learn from it. So there is an obligation that we hope that PTA presidents recognize, that you do hold that role. And then the presidents are always a primary check signer. The system is two checked. Everything should be a dual check sign, but some of the financial part of it we'll go into greater depth with Cheryl's treasurer's workshop, but all transactions should be taken under a dual check process. And then the president is who signs contracts. So important to keep that in mind. So if there's an official legal contract that's going to be signed, it's the president. I do have another slide that's going to talk a little bit more about that. And contracts also require the dual signature. And then the president's also going to sign any payment authorization form. So if someone pays out of pocket, they would submit a request for reimbursement, and the president would be reviewing that to ensure that everything is in good order. And again, just, a lot of what we've already talked about, making sure that you're familiar with all the different things. I will share as an example, one of our PTA leaders reached out and said, hey, we want to do a bounce house at the end of the school year. Does our insurance allow that? What do we have to do? So we were able to talk through with her. A facilities use request is something that would go through the district. So your school district is going to have specific requirements for, you want to have vendors come in, if you want to do some sort of event at the school, or like I said, bounce house, that type of thing, they're going to have a facility use request form. And then your insurance coverage, the answer is yes, our insurance does cover bounce houses, water slides, that type of thing. But you want to talk to your school district, start with your principal first to find out exactly what steps need to be taken in order to get that approved. Again, reviewing bylaws, all of these different things, very similar to what we've already talked about. Preparing a proposed budget. So this does fall into your wheelhouse for this time in the election process. So your current president should be sitting down with you as your president-elect to talk about what that proposed budget for next year should look like. There is a process in the toolkit that identifies the steps that you can take in order to get that proposed budget approved now. And then that proposed budget actually gets presented at your first association meeting in the fall. So school starting, you're scheduling your association meeting, and you already have a proposed budget ready to go because you guys have already talked about all the great things that you want to do for your PTA. Cheryl will go into more detail on that in her treasurer's workshop. And so one thing that came to mind when I think about this top line, presents those appointed to various positions. So say you have an open vacancy right now for vice president, and the term starts July 1st. There's a process where you can appoint someone into that position. It doesn't have to necessarily follow the election process, but again, it's bylaw driven. There's rules that allow for it, but there's various things that the president does to appoint positions. Some of them are appointed anyway. So for instance, the parliamentarian is an appointed position, not an elected position. So it's a matter of those appointments going through the process, and we could talk more about that if that became a question mark for anybody. But again, it gives you an idea here. So it's basically a motion made. So someone on the board makes a motion to ratify presidential appointments. As an example, we now have a third district student board member, and that was an appointment that I made at our last meeting, and the rest of my executive team was able to make a motion. We discussed it, and we're so excited. We have a wonderful young lady who is a sophomore at CK McClatchy, and she is just fired up to do advocacy. So we're all just thrilled. I highly encourage, if you guys have the space or the desire, encourage your students to get involved. It's powerful. All right, July 1st. That's when it officially gets going. Let the fun begin. So what are you going to do? Please don't try and do it all by yourself. Please. It's not necessary, and it's not supposed to be that way. It's meant to be a team building exercise. You are leading the ship. You are at the helm, but you're not meant to do it all. So definitely try and just really encourage and empower. Sometimes it's looking around and thinking about different areas in your school community that might not have a voice, maybe not represented, maybe is always at the school, but isn't showing up at the PTA meetings. Find ways to invite people into the space. And then definitely the folks that are on your leadership team, give them some empowerment to do some good work, because it's amazing what happens when folks feel empowered and engaged and part of a team. It really is an exciting thing to watch when you see things like that happen. And thank your volunteers, be the reflection of what they need to see. And you're going to find that you're going to grow your PTA in a way that hopefully astounds everyone, including you. But don't do it all by yourself. And then this is just kind of a little bit of an overview. time to relax before all the fun starts. But making sure that your financials are done. So hopefully your leadership is passing on to you an overview of what's taken place, where you're at in your financial reporting and your financial reviews. Start making arrangements for tax filing. So you're going to want to find out where everything's at as far as that goes. And again, some of those things will go into greater detail at our other workshops. Thinking about the back to school event. So again, collaborating with your principal and find out how you can teamwork together in order to make that happen. And then you're going to be signing contracts. So if you guys have Scholastic Book Fair coming, if there's a contract required, finding out what has taken place, what job tasks need to be done in order to accomplish it. And then this is that, it's not too early to start thinking about what that first general association meeting date might look like. So you can start planning, promoting membership. The bank has to take, the newly elected positions, the check signers probably change. So there's documents that you're going to need to take with you to get the bank signature changed over. Normally it's your election minutes. So the minutes that showed the outgoing positions and the newly elected positions. Check your bank. We will help you gather any documents that might be required for any of that transition.
There's also a letter from third district that's needed. And I just made a note to follow up with you on that.
Okay. Yes. And so we can help provide any documentation that's necessary. Different banks have different rules, different processes. So always just reach out to us. We're happy to help. And then the totem account. So that's that membership platform. So you'll have to add, for instance, your new treasurer into the totem account so they have access. Future Fund Connect, we're going to talk a lot more about this. So you're going to expect to see some communication from either myself or Julie, who is our office staff, because we're going to start really kind of reaching out to figure out who isn't on Future Fund Connect yet, who needs that invite sent back out. Simple process accepting it, but it's a powerful platform. Like I said, it's where your historical documents are stored. It's where you're keeping your board roster, and it's where you're going to be able to update your bylaws. So you want to have access to that. And then social media and all the email accounts. So keeping a good list, a good process for those email access points, those login access points for your social medias. Keeping it generic so it becomes owned by the PTA makes it helpful when you transition those roles. And this just gives a bit of an overview on the contract. So this would be, so as an example, your association meeting in the fall, say your leadership team over the summer decides on a big event that is going to require a contract signature. You're going to bring that as one of your agenda items at your association meeting prior to undertaking it. Because you have to remember, you're representing your membership. It's not just the leadership team that's doing the work of the PTA. You're basically doing the work of the PTA on behalf of your association. And in my mind, that's a really good way to frame it so that your members, your association realizes that they have a voice, they have a vote, they have a responsibility to be part of this. And hopefully it creates this kind of full circle effort. So it's not just seen as the PTA, which is 3 or 4 leaders, is the entirety. That is not the truth. Your association is all your members, and the membership should be participating in all of the activity as much as possible. And then that just gives an overview of how you would sign those contracts. So stating your name, position, and the term. All right, month 2, as we head into August, what's going to happen? What are we looking at? Probably some back to school events. Think about a membership drive. Throughout the summer, you're going to start to see a lot of stuff from state PTA and hopefully us too, with some ideas. Those membership incentives, like Cheryl mentioned, that we didn't spend for this budget, we now have a plan. So we're going to do some of these incentives, meaning that say you just knock it out of the park with your membership and maybe you're entitled to get some funds to go to the PTA store and purchase a really cool personalized banner or tablecloth or something like that. Some of those things. Keep an eye out for those that we're going to be promoting. The budget, that's the one thing you're going to be bringing. You're going to post it in anticipation of your membership meeting, promoting membership, conflict of interest forms from all board members. That's an unknown thing that I've not tapped into. So I need to talk to, I think, some of my longstanding PTA leaders about that. But we'll move past it since nobody's speaking up. September, that's when you're going to hold an executive board meeting. You should have held your general association meeting also and promote membership. So this is where you're going to be approving your PTA calendar, your programs, your fundraisers, and your proposed budget becomes your working budget. So it's not proposed anymore once your association votes on it. It can be modified though throughout the year. So you're not held to it. You just want to be able to explain to your association when those things happen. Maybe you had a fundraiser that just, brought in way more than you expected. So now you have some extra funds. You want to do some extra things. The leadership team can make discussions and make decisions, but it has to be taken back to your association for ratification, basically. Your association saying, yeah, that sounds good. And then talking about year-end financial review, you just want to make sure that by September that is done. Let's see what we're looking at. This is just an overview. My toolbar's in the way. An overview of a sample board meeting agenda. Again, I'm going to share all these things out. You guys saw a good example of it, though. You've been here. So you saw us call it to order, talking about approving the minutes from the prior financial reports. And this is important. So your beginning PTA balance, your income expenses, and the ending balance. This just keeps your association informed about the dollars and cents that are spent. And it also provides accountability. And it provides accountability to where decisions you guys make, so long as everything's being followed, you always know it's going to be accurate. There should never be any question about what took place with that. And then different reports. So on our executive team meetings, I just have a standing spot for vice president reports. And so all of my VPs will come in and talk about the different efforts that they've been making. So it's just a good time for everyone to hear about what everybody else is doing. And then definitely include your principal and the teacher rep for providing out reports. And again, this is just a sample agenda. So old business, new business, and then note your adjourn time. Those are your, that's technically a minutes thing, but it's noted on the agenda. And I think we talked a lot about quite a bit of this. Keep in mind, though, the fiduciary responsibility is shared by all members of your board. And so it really is an important responsibility that everybody agrees and understands. So fiscal management, you're holding a responsibility to your association to make sure that you're handling your funds in a responsible way. And we're going to help you make sure that all the compliance requirements are followed. So tax filings, all that kind of stuff. Forwarding of per capita dues. So if you take manual memberships, meaning someone gives you a check, someone gives you cash, they're giving you an envelope, you're adding them to your list. That doesn't go that same way through Totem, which is automatic. These you have to send up, I think they call it up the chain, but basically you're going to be sending those membership dollars to third district, and we're going to share information next year as we get to that to tell you the process. It's very simple, but you will want to be aware that the Totem, which is automatic, but when you're collecting manual memberships, you have to physically forward those up to third district. And then the annual membership. Oh, go ahead,
I'll also briefly be talking about that in my workshop.
Thank you. Yes. And then the annual insurance premium, January 1st, I believe, is the deadline. We'll start letting you guys know probably in November. It's now an online process, super simple. But holding and paying your insurance premium is required to hold your PTA in good standing. And we really have great insurance. So we wouldn't want to not have this. And we all benefit from the collective insurance coverage by AIM. Our premium is very low considering the coverage that we have. So what happens at your general association meetings? Basically, this is where your membership is informed and votes to approve. And I want to encourage you guys to really help your potential members and your existing members and your new members, let them know they have a voice. That's the whole purpose. Membership is not a fundraising effort. Membership is basically getting people engaged in your association so that they can be uplifted and empowered to be part of it. So I definitely hope that we can kind of help you frame it, because I know that getting participants, getting volunteers, getting people to even, engage is sometimes a challenge. And I think we have to find out what holds them back. If they don't have capacity, that's one thing. They could still be a member. But if they do have capacity, what's it going to take to get involved? And that's what membership does. So you're going to be following your association meetings. Your bylaws are going to talk about it. Anybody who's a PTA member is invited to the association meetings, and you're going to be approving your executive board actions. So your executive board, all of you guys are going to be having these conversations, having meetings, coming up with great ideas, and you're taking it back to your association for approval. And then adoption of the bylaws. So this is what Christelle had mentioned. So she went through the process of updating her bylaws once they came back from the state. Now she's going to take it back at her next association meeting so that her bylaws can be adopted.
A couple things, Denise, back
Yes.
to the previous slide.
Uh-huh.
The association meetings are open to the public. Anybody can come, but only members can vote.
And members have to be a member for 30 days before
Yes.
before they are officially able to vote.
Correct.
So that also is a very important point. Thank you, Cheryl.
And I also I received a question from one of our people on our chat in our meeting here.
Yes.
Asking if they have during their general meeting, should the board ask the active PTA members for agenda items for discussion before to one, I'm assuming, while putting the agenda together, or should there be a space on the agenda for members to ask questions or bring points of business forward?
I think I don't know that there's a hard and fast rule, but I could certainly check that. But that's an awesome way to get engaged, right? To get your association members engaged with the practice of it. This next slide talks about a sample association meeting. So for instance, old business, new business. You could just have standing spots on your agenda that opens it up for conversation so that you actually are getting your membership a lot more involved. I think any way you can possibly find to allow your membership to have engagement and have a voice is only going to strengthen your PTA. Of course, you're going to, establish norms, you'll establish the processes so that you can, run your meeting efficiently, but finding ways to incorporate your membership, highly recommend it.
And I also think that there's it's in Robert's rules that if a member brings a piece of business forward that because it's not on the agenda, it can't be voted on during that meeting that it's first brought up. It has to wait until the next meeting.
But they could offer a topic to say,
But they can offer it, yeah.
right, I'd like to somebody has something near and dear to their heart and they bring it to the association meeting, they're saying, I would like for us to have this on the next meeting agenda so that we can discuss it, or I'd like for us to explore this idea, or maybe you're like, hey, this is a great committee chair opportunity. Try and find ways to broaden your opportunities for your association membership so that they feel empowered to be involved. I will say that there's times that we hear school communities saying, well, the PTA just doesn't involve us. They don't ask our opinion. They don't want to hear from us. That's not the purpose of a PTA, right? You're just representing at the leadership level and you're speaking on behalf of everybody. So try and think about ways to make sure that you are being as inclusive as possible. And think about some of those communities that might not typically have a voice. What might it take to let them have a voice? Because the more you get engaged, the more folks you get engaged, the stronger your PTA. So I'm going to kind of zip through these because I do want to allow time for just chats or what have you. So this gives an overview of a sample association meeting agenda. Again, we want to note quorum, approving minutes, financial reports, all of that stuff, keeping those the balances. And these are just going to follow. So your leadership meeting is going to take place, and then you're bringing forth what you guys are talking about in leadership into your association meeting. This just gives you an idea about, sample motions, and you guys heard us demonstrate it today. So I don't think we need to go through this in too great of depth. But make sure you open up space to ask for discussion. So it's not just motion made, seconded, vote, boom, done. You want to make sure that people have a chance, because the whole purpose of a motion is basically saying, hey, I'm making a motion for us to discuss this. It's the purpose of it. And someone else is going, yeah, I agree. I'm going to second that. And then you're opening it up to have a chat, have a discussion about it. Once that discussion, questions are answered, what have you, that's when you're calling for the vote. I would say this is all. You guys can certainly just take a look at this when I share it out. So giving an agenda in advance, talking about your minutes and the approval process. Again, your financial reports, make sure you're providing as much detail as possible so everybody can truly, see what's going on. Trying to make sure all your board and committee members are ready to be prepared to present, because we want to hear about what the work they've done. 1 hour meeting once a month, there's a lot of stuff. So you want to be able to have everybody as prepared as possible. And then you're going to approve a lot of different things, calendar, budget, fundraisers, all those kind of things. And then finding ways, if you do have disruptive or unruly members, they're still members. So we want to just try and find ways to guide and lead our meetings in a respectful, inclusive manner. But there are techniques that you can use if things get out of control. So if you have any challenges with any of your meetings ever, please reach out to us. We are specifically trained at the state level to try and help through difficult situations. And I'll tell you that difficult situations I've been involved in, I've gone up to state to ask for guidance. So we are here to help. Please don't ever feel like you're just at this alone. And then October is where you're going to start, continue promoting. And then we're going to talk about tax filings. And then as you go into November, that's when tax filings are due. So we won't go into this too deeply, but there are just a couple easy peasy processes once you get the hang of it. I will tell you that we have a benefit being here in Sacramento. The Attorney General's office is super easy to walk in and file your papers and get them taken care of right then and there. I've done it many, many times. I've walked PTA unit leaders in with me. So don't hesitate to reach out if you ever have any questions about any of that process. And then we'll have more specific training and some more specific how-tos. We will set up a specific workshop for tax filing to help. And last year we actually set it up, or we were just talking about it, to do it in person, to where you could come in and we'll help you right there on the spot. So month 6, December. You're still going to be promoting membership. This is where you're going to start thinking about paying that insurance premium, like I said. And then you're going to start thinking about elections, which seems crazy in December. But if you're going to have a nominating committee, you want to do that right around then. And then if for some reason you don't do a nominating committee, the election process still can take place and candidates would be nominated and run from the floor. Your bylaws have the month that you should be holding your elections. But if anybody has not yet or has open positions, please just know that third district is here to support. I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but I'm going to. So there's always a handful of our PTA units that go into the school year and don't have their officers yet because they just couldn't get it together. There's so much going on at the end of the school year. We will be there to help you get to that finish line. So just let us know, reach out, and we'll certainly be available to you as needed. And then thinking about how'd it go? How'd the first 6 months go? What have we done? How's it going? What should we do differently? Thinking about what that might look like. This is just a little bit about the AIM insurance guide. So when I send these links out, I highly recommend clicking on this link. And what it'll do is it'll take you, I don't know if it'll mess up the whole screen share, but there's the AIM insurance guide. Basically, it's the pamphlet form. Inside of there, it has, as an example, the waivers. So if you have an event where you need parents to sign a waiver for the students, there's a form in there. It's going to tell you all the details about the different things that you might need to know. And AIM is absolutely fantastic. The phone number's there, the email's there. They are responsive usually within less than a day. So if you ever have questions about, is this an event that's covered? What do I do? What do I need? I need an insurance form. What is this thing that my district is asking? AIM Insurance is there to help. So as we start to roll into January, month 7, where you're going to start thinking about, again, that nominating committee, financial review if you do one in the middle of the year, and then thinking about some awards. February, again, a little bit of just, Cheryl, do you want to talk about Founders Day? Because you have way more history and I'll butcher it. So I will high level. So California State PTA has been in existence for a very, very long time, greater than 125 years. And so we celebrate Founders Day in that regard. So you'll hear more from us in that regard. It is a pretty special thing. It was 3 amazing women. Phoebe Hearst was one of them. I don't remember the other 2 names, that actually felt back in
87.
Thank you, Peggy. That they felt this was an organization worth establishing, and here all of us are. So it is a day worth celebrating. The continuity of it. Third District just received an award at convention for being in existence for 125 years.
10 years. 110 years.
110 years. That's wild. That's wild. So it's something to celebrate. And then when we start to move into March, we're going to talk about convention. I really want to promote it for next year. I would love to see more of us get down there because it really is a powerful experience. Keep it in mind as you do your proposed budget. I didn't put in there, usually in February is when the legislation conference is held in Sacramento. So we will share that information with you as well. And then It says April for the convention, so it's usually the last weekend of April going into the first weekend of May. So it's just that tiny little window of time. I think it was May 1st through the 3rd this time, if I'm remembering correctly. And then May, you're going to start planning for transition. And then here we are coming up on June, which is where we're at now, as we full circle back around and we start it all over again. Do all that fun stuff. And we have time left. We have this meeting scheduled till 8:30, so I am more than willing to just open up the floor. You guys are welcome to unmute, raise a hand, however you want to. I see there was lots of activity in the chat. So does anybody have any questions?
I would before everybody else jumps in with their questions, I'd like to address to everybody a question that was posted in the chat.
Okay.
Maria posted a question in the chat about the what the Elk Grove Unified School District is requiring all parent groups to go through this renewal process or registration process. I told Maria that a number of school districts are doing this now. So, and every school district has different requirements. So, if you have any confusion about what your school district is requiring of you to submit, obviously ask your school district. If you don't know what documents they're talking about, or if you can give us a general description of what documents you need, we can help you find out which documents your school district is asking for and help you provide them. Yeah, or point you in the right direction so that you can request them. But like I said, every school district is completely different in what they're asking for. So, but if you ask your school district for clarification and then ask us to help you gather up those documents.
Yeah. And Maria, I'm happy to, Ryan, I'm going to take you next. I'm happy to reach out on behalf. So if you want to just drop me an email, because it would be it would be a good best practice for us at third district to have just the basics, the overview for different districts. So if you want to connect with me, I'd be more than happy to reach out and figure that out together so that we could share that best practice with everybody.
Yeah, Marie
Right.
actually provided links to all their board policies and everything in her chat message. So
Fantastic. Well, I will look into that. Ryan, what can we hear from you?
Yeah, two questions. Is there a website to host a website? Or like what's the best way to do that?
I missed part of that. Can you repeat that?
Oh, so, like, can you, sorry, a website host. Can you
So
not hear me? Hold on.
yes.
Oops. Yeah.
Yes. So Tom, who is our VP of leadership, provides support for a Google nonprofit status, and the Google nonprofit status also gives you web hosting. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we can connect you with Tom, but he's going to need, you guys are at the very early stages of formation. And so as soon as we get all of your ducks in a row, then we'll be able to put you in touch so that we could get your Google nonprofit moving forward and then website hosting. Yes. Zakia, I see you
Okay.
have your hand
Thank
raised.
you.
You're welcome.
Hi. Sorry. This is a unique situation. Our secretary has not attended any of the meetings, but so she's like missing in action. We were looking through the bylaws, and it seems really tricky to like replace her. But like after hearing you right now, it seems like it's so easy. Like we just have those meetings and just get that going, right? Because we do need a secretary. So the funny thing is our PTA is very new. We just started last year. And we haven't had a lot of things going on, so everything has been like at the very last minute. Like we just go with it, you know? And now that I'm going through looking at things, I'm like, oh my gosh, we didn't do that. We didn't do that, you know? And I was missing for 2 meetings too because I had, commitments and stuff. But so for the secretary, I know I read and I was trying to find my bylaws. I cannot find it right now, but is it true that the president can send a notice and then that would be it, or is there more requirement? Like I know it has to go through you guys for approval and everything.
So as an elected position, if one of your elected representatives misses 3 of your executive team meetings, that's technically grounds for removal. And there is a process in your bylaws that allows for that. And it's not because you're trying to be mean. You're
Yeah.
just trying to make sure that you conduct business. And so there is a process, and we do it, obviously very kindly and graciously and trying to communicate, and we can help you through that process, Sakia. So feel free to drop me an email, and we can talk a little bit more about what that process looks like.
Awesome.
But yeah, you do need, if someone's holding that position, you need them to uphold their position, and there's a process that they can be removed from that position if they don't attend 3 meetings or more.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Adam, I see your hand. Peggy, we can't hear you. Your audio's still all jumbled. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So my question is, so our PTA wants to create a program for like field trip support, and we've prepared a program packet, a manual for how that program might operate, what the policies and procedures are, and what the roles and responsibilities are. So we've drafted that, and we weren't sure if something like that would need to go to either the third district or the state level PTA for approval or any sort of an audit.
I don't think so, but you're welcome to share it with us. But you'd probably want to outline it and reference it in your standing rules.
Okay.
But we're happy to review it. And I say that without having a true deep understanding of it. And if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to send it up to us. And if it's beyond our scope, we definitely can send it up to state so that we can get feedback and a deeper understanding. But I would say that creating structures and framework is great. I would think that it would
Right.
be really helpful and probably something that your principal would appreciate because everybody's going to know exactly what to do and how to approach it. And you'll probably also minimize an onslaught of requests, maybe. So
Right.
if you
Okay.
have a process in place, sounds like it's a great, and it might be a great best practice that when we start doing these meetups, that you can share with other PTA leaders. So yeah,
Sure.
sounds like a great idea.
Okay. I'll send it your way and see if there's any concerns or red flags that you see.
Sounds good. Thanks, Adam. Maria, I see your hand.
Hi, yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
I can, yep.
Thank you. So, Oak Ridge is also a newly established organization. I believe we just finalized in the end of November, I believe, or December. So we're all new. We're all trying to, learn our roles and everything. But just like the previous person, now being at this meeting, actually, again, we haven't, I think anyone on our board, we haven't had any like, one-on-ones or anything like that. I think this is my first one as president still, but there's a lot of things that we have not followed, and that includes could you clarify what it means from electing from the floor? Because I think we've, without, I was trying to go through our bylaws at
Mm-hmm.
the actual quote unquote election meeting that we
Mm-hmm.
had, and trying to make sure everything was clear and everything, but just things haven't lined up good.
Yeah.
And I don't think we followed any of that. So how or what happens now?
Sure. Yeah. A couple of things come to mind as you're saying that. Number one, we are responsible for making sure you guys get sufficient training. And if we haven't done that, then please hold us accountable. Let us know. And I've actually was just talking to Peggy the other day about this, that third district leaders, we're going to do some recordings so that kind of our in-service process, so that we can give you guys some good framework. And then you're also welcome to reach out to us anytime, and we will come on the spot and work with you and sit down with your leadership team at any given time. And the fact that it might feel like you weren't doing things the right way, we certainly want you to do the things the right way, and we're here to help support that. But we're also not going to come in and chastise you if it didn't turn out right, and we're going to help you resolve it. So don't feel intimidated or overwhelmed by thinking that you haven't been doing things the right way. As far as nominations from the floor, so you would have had an association meeting. Hopefully you had quorum pursuant to your bylaws. Quorum is sometimes very difficult to get. You know, sometimes you get 3 people that are willing to hold these positions, and you might have, you know, enough people in your association meeting that can vote, and meaning the person being nominated from the floor just means that right there on the spot at that election, they're saying, I'm willing to be nominated, or I'm self-nominating for such and such position, and that nomination is accepted. You would say, is there anybody else that wants to run from the floor? And if nobody else raises their hand, that vote can take place and that person is now elected. Does that answer the question, Maria? And if you have questions real specific about what took place, like I said, feel free to reach out because we can talk through. There's very little that we can't help you through. And there's usually a remedy for every single action if there's something that needs to be tweaked or fixed. So just let us know, Maria.
Got it. Will do.
And yes, I love Megan's comment. We all have felt that way. Do not feel bad. I feel that way all the time. All the time. So
Thank you.
Of course. We are here to support. Any other questions? Oh, I appreciate all the hearts.
I love Peggy's
Yes.
comment that we are not the PTA police.
Yes, we're not here to chastise. We are here to help people, you know, do the fun part, because there is business to all of this. There is business because we're representing people and we're, you know, earning money and all that kind of stuff. So a future fund error. I think it's because they haven't approved your because you're such a new PTA, the state is still going through all their processes. So it shows up as like an error because it's not yet in the system.
Got
Like
it.
your bylaws that have been drafted just made it up to state.
Got it. We
And
got an
so
email. Yeah, they're
yeah.
sending us emails now, so we're signed up to something. But
Oh
yeah.
yeah. But you could always drop us a note. But yeah.
Yeah.
And it's okay, Ephraim. No worries at all. I just felt bad because I felt like I was muting you and maybe you had something to say, and I didn't want to mute you if you had something to say. So it's okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that, Adam. Look at that. President the first night as a kinder parent. And now look at you, Adam. Now look at you. We honored you at our family and community summit because Bret Hart's been doing such amazing work. So there is no wrong steps. There's only steps that we might just have to help correct. There's not everything you guys are doing is wonderful and great. We're just here to help you structure things as efficiently as possible, you know, create processes and procedures so you don't have to wonder, and then you can get on with all the hard work, which is, you know, the stuff you guys do at the PTA unit level is the hardest job of all. And I say that having served at the state level on down to the PTA unit level. the work we do in the schools is the hardest work of all. So I just commend each and every one of you for all you're doing for the kids because it matters so much. It really matters so much. Well, I can give you guys back 3 minutes. I talked a lot. I hope it was helpful. I will send out the recording, the slides. Stay in touch. Like I said, reach out to any of us with any questions. And I appreciate all of you. I know on behalf of our entire leadership team, we all just deeply appreciate all the work you're doing.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, you guys. Well,
Thank you for this meeting.
you're welcome. You're welcome. All right, you guys. Yay. I'm excited for our SEPTAs. I'm excited
Yeah,
for
I
our
am too. I
SEPTAs.
got to get back on COPA and tell them how far we've come.
Yes, yes, yes.
And Ryan's
Yes.
been encouraging me to document things. I'm so bad about taking pictures, but
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Ryan's got some skills that
I
We're
know. We
growing.
need to appoint a historian.
It's true. You know, we got it. We'll hope to see you guys all soon.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, everybody, take care. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.